Hello everybody. So in this video I'm gonna cover a 5-month overview about my usage with this Pixel 8. So I bought this Pixel 8 during the Best Buy deal for like $550 for the base 8 128GB model. So let's get into the pros and the cons that I have observed with this Pixel 8. So the first thing I want to highlight is the display. Like man oh man, Pixel has done some amazing work with their display. Their Actua display, that's what they call it, with 2000 nits of peak brightness, it's quite incredible. It's just not the brightness, guys. The quality of the panel you could make out. Like I actually prefer this screen over my iPhone 15 Pro Max that I'm recording this video in. And also one point that I want to give to Pixel is their selfie cam is just a dot. It's just a punch hole selfie camera. So it does not interfere with the video watching experience. So overall, it has accurate and nice and punchy colors. Also, I wanted to highlight that it runs constantly at 120 Hz across all the apps. Like I have observed that there are no frame drops, no lags when you're using it for day-to-day activities. I just wanted to highlight that Twitter sometimes acts a bit weird, that it drops the refresh rate on Twitter, but I think just because I see it on Twitter, so it's a issue from the Twitter's backend server end, in my opinion, because I don't observe these frame drops in any other applications that I use in my day-to-day life. So overall, in terms of display and the 120 Hz optimization, it's an excellent $550 phone. So you have to always remember the price of this phone in order to compare. So in terms of display, I actually prefer it to my $1,200 iPhone 15 Pro Max in terms of colors and accuracy as well. Now let's talk about one of the best pros, the design and the comfort. Oh man, I have to give it to Google. Like these rounded off edges with the camera visor design, it's one of the best, guys. Like I cannot even complain. Like when I hold this device, it's dense enough. It has some round edges that makes it comfy to hold, and I have no issues. Like probably this is one of the best designed phones ever. Like I'm not even kidding. Flat display, camera visor, so when you keep it on a flat floor it doesn't wobble. Overall, it has the best design, and the ergonomics show up when you try to use this device and move to some other boxy device like my iPhone 15 Pro Max and S23 Ultra. So I give it a 10 out of 10. Actually, I'm not even kidding. It's the most comfortable phone I have ever used. And it also has a slim slot. Like, who would complain about that? It's amazing that you get a SIM slot with this phone and not the iPhone. Like, I have no idea what Apple is doing. It has not worked. This is where I have my Indian phone number and I have my American phone number on my iPhone, just because everybody here likes to use iPhone, which is like a big fad here. But I will just tell you guys, SIM slot is a godsend on Android devices. Please, Android manufacturers, don't go in Apple's route and delete it from your future flagship devices. But overall, the design and comfort is the best. 10 out of 10. Let's talk about speakers. Now, even the speakers are quite significantly improved. They are very loud and crispy. So there is like an incident that I want to share. So I have a tendency of going to the bathroom and listening to music. So I used to do that with my iPhone, and I used to play it in full volume, and none of my roommates used to get disturbed by it. But when I did the same with the Pixel, oh man, they could hear it in their rooms. So in terms of loudness and crispness is quite high. But sometimes I do notice that the voice crackles at the top end. So I do believe that the drums, like the speaker drums itself, reverberate quite well within this small compact device. Like it's just a 6.2-inch display. Like, look how comfortable it is. Like, this is a heaven, like really. And the sound chambering system on this is one of the best. I've not used the iPhone 15, but I could tell you this is as comparable as to my iPhone 15 Pro Max. It gets louder than it, but in terms of crispness of the audio, the iPhone still wins. But overall, for $550, this phone has one of the best speakers. Now, let's talk about performance. Now, everybody's talking about Tensor G3. My opinion with Tensor G3 is that it is a chip that helps you in day-to-day activities. It is not meant to be a gaming monster. It is not meant to do a lot of multitasking. Some level of high-end stuff is okay, but for regular day-to-day activities, it is quite optimized. I will tell you, when you use this phone for regular activities, it has better battery life than my iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm not kidding you guys. There is an issue with iPhone that I have observed, that it drains battery like crazy when you switch on the phone from, like, when you switch modes, like when you switch your phone from like flight mode to like mobile data mode, it drains 5% of battery in like 10 minutes. Some issue is there in iOS about it, but I have no such issues with this phone. Like, I can use this phone on Wi-Fi. It gives me easily 8 to 9 hours of screen on time. And if I use this on mobile data, it goes around like 4.5 hours to 5. But I guess that is true with any of the phone devices. Like even my iPhone, if I strictly use it on mobile data, it will give me around 6 hours of screen on time. But on Wi-Fi, it will give me around 9 to 10 hours. I'm talking about my iPhone 15 Pro Max. But in comparison to that, this gives like 9 hours on Wi-Fi and 5 hours on cellular data. So in like, let's go back to the tensor topic once again. So it is good for regular day-to-day activities. 120 Hz optimization is done excellent on this device. RAM management is quite good. There is an issue that I have with cellular reception, that sometimes I don't get mobile data on this phone. So I strictly used it with Jio in India, and apparently there is an issue with Jio SIMs that are operated on the pixels. So take my words for granted. Don't take my words with a pinch of salt. But overall, the cellular reception is quite average on this phone. It's not like it's gonna be a big deal, because anyways, if you're using this phone, I hope you have a secondary phone, because this is more like it's not meant for the average consumer. But if you use it for as an average consumer, it will still not give you any issue. But I will tell you, like, there are some devices which have better cell reception quality than this phone. But it's not a big deal breaker, because anyways nowadays people use a lot of use Wi-Fi, and if they want to use cellular data, they just basically try to call people through voice calls and maybe text. So for that purposes, this is more than enough. And there has never been an issue where I used it on Wi-Fi on my car in America, that it just out of no way it stopped showing GPS, the GPS stopped working, nothing like that. It's just some areas that you don't get Wi-Fi properly, so that the cellular reception properly, that's where it chugs a bit. But it's not a big deal, guys. Okay, so yeah, that's it about the performance. Good for day-to-day regular usage. But in terms of high-end performance, if you try to push this phone, it will chug a bit, but it will do the job. Now, let's talk about the cameras. Okay, the cameras on this phone are quite good. They are one of the best. I still prefer the still photographies that I do on this phone over my iPhone. In terms of non-human objects, this phone takes the best pictures. There are some instances when it fails to recognize the brown skin, like it tries to over HDify the brown skin and it creates some sort of a halo effect sometimes, but that can be dealt with after so within some editing tools, like you get Snapseed and within the Google Photos app. So this HDR thing with human faces is quite a big drawback in most of the phones. This also has that issue. Even the Samsung has that. iPhone to an extent have fixed it in their phone, but yeah, you have to consider the cost as well, guys, right? It's a $550 phone. You cannot expect it to do everything, but overall, if you get a picture like this halo thing that I'm talking about, it happens like only once in like 50 images. But for rest of the 49 images, that is around, what's the accuracy, that's like 98% of the time this phone takes amazing pictures, even for human portraits skins. In terms of portrait mode, specifically speaking, it's kind of average. It's below average actually. It does not take great portrait pictures, but I'm someone who just uses the main camera and the selfie camera and it does the job. So yeah. And in terms of selfie, it takes good selfies. Sometimes I feel it softens the face a bit, but there is an issue that I wanted to highlight on my iPhone, like that I'm currently recording this video on. So this phone has the thing where it over sharpens all the imperfections on my face, which is too much. And this phone does an excellent job. So even if you think this face smoothing is a con on this phone, think about it again. If you have used a selfie camera on an iPhone 15 Pro Max, you would disagree. Like, this is a good feature because it provides an intermediate balance between the smoothing, extra smoothing on Chinese phones like Xiaomi, and over sharpening selfie pictures like on iPhone. So overall, I still consider this a pro. Like, the smoothing, you do require some amount of smoothing on your face so that it doesn't look like you're artificial, right? Yeah. Anyways, let's move on. I wanted to talk about the videos as well. Yeah, videos on this phone are one of the best. Like, it is the best in the Android game. Like, it captures amazing videos. But I do want to highlight one thing, that whenever I take some videos, it does get warm, but it does not get hot. It does not shut down. It just gets warm. It is normal on any phones for that matter. So it's not a big con. It does get warm along the back plate and sometimes along the frames, but it's doing focus 60 FPS at the cost of $550. Like, tell me which phone used to do that like 2 years ago. Like, even the iPhone 13 that I used to record the videos on used to heat as much as this phone. So I would not consider it as a con. It does get a little warm, but that's it. Then I wanted to quickly talk about the AI features. Overall, I think it's still a gimmick. Like, the translation stuff offline is amazing. The voice recorder app is amazing. The summarization within the Chrome app is amazing. Magic Eraser. So there is an issue with Magic Eraser and Magic Editor. Magic Eraser is kind of slow for this device. It is mostly crippled by the Tensor processor because it doesn't do high-end stuff that well. Even if you might think, oh, like, we could actually do all these activities within the phone, it is quite slow, and over a period of time you will get tired of waiting for the picture to be analyzed through Magic Editor. But Magic Editor itself is quite an amazing tool, so I hope Google will improve on it through software end, as well as through their upgrades on chip when they move to the TSMC manufacturing process. I hope it gets more powerful and it gets as fast as I tried on the Samsung S24 series. So I actually tried the Samsung S24 series. Their AI feels much more integrated within the OS, within the UI, Samsung One UI, than on Pixel. But the quality of AI, the things that AI can do is better on the Pixel. So the seamlessness of using AI in the regular day-to-day activities is better on the Samsung S24 lineup. But the quality, like the AI models, like the AI output, is better on the Pixel. So I would like Pixel to take a note on how Samsung implemented their AI features and try to implement it that way on their phone, so that you get a pop-up around everywhere where you go sometimes. Like, it should not be annoying. Like, they have a very nice logo thing within the Samsung Gallery app, Samsung phone app, and Samsung Messages, Samsung Keyboard. Like, those are some of very interesting features. So right now I would give the edge to Samsung in terms of AI, because they have had a seamless implementation across One UI. Google has better AI capabilities, but they have not implemented it well, and the processor doesn't help as well. Okay. Last thing, let's quickly go around the cons that I have discussed throughout this video. So one is I faced a lot of network issues. Not a lot, like you do face some network issues from time to time. This sort of network issues also leads to like high battery drainage, because your radios on your cell phone tries to catch networks and it drains to a bit of battery drain. But the battery life overall on this device is quite decent. Skins I talked about, sometimes it tries to have that HDR halo effect on your skin. This can be improved when you play around with Snapseed or other photo editing tools within the Google app, or that you can find on Play Store. And one of the cons, like, we have to discuss this, guys. One of the cons is they don't give any chargers, no screen protectors, no cases in the box. Like, it is unacceptable, guys. Like, come on, imagine. Like, I know this is a $550 phone. I'm like, my iPhone is like $1,200 phone. Like, come on. Like, Apple, Samsung, Google, nothing. Sony, try to give accessories in your box. Like, what happened to all those days when we used to get so many good accessories in box? Anyways, I will always highlight that in my videos. And other than that, I think that's it. Yeah, overall this is an amazing phone. If you get it for $550, you can grab it for 8128. But if you are using the 8128 model, beware that you will upgrade this phone in 2 years. So the whole 7 years of updates and 7 years of security patches is an amazing thing for this phone. I could see this phone being used by old people, like when it's like on its like 6th or 7th OS update. Like, of course this phone will slow down over that time, because no phone can be the same for across 7 years. But this phone can be a good second phone for you. Like, you can use a good iPhone, like not a good iPhones are like pretty average in my opinion, but a high-end iPhone and high-end Android phones, and you can use this as a secondary device. So the USP of this phone is the comfort, absolutely, the display, and the still photography. Okay, so yeah, that's all in this video I wanted to cover. And this case that I bought is from Amazon. Please buy this case. You just go on Amazon and type Caseology Athex. So this case I bought was for around $10. So I hope you can find that deal. It's very comfortable. It has rounded edges as well, and it's very grippy as well. Okay, so yeah, that's all in this video. Thank you everybody, and I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Bye bye.